You are watching this video because your camper toilet is leaking in the back. And it could mean you didn't winterize it correctly, or it just might mean you have a cracked system. And it's very easy to remove. There's 2 screws on the bottom and 1 screw on the back. I'll show you how. So it's springtime and I turned on the water pressure and had water come gushing out from underneath my toilet. It was the fresh water line, thank goodness. But I looked back here and found this hose kind of sitting loose and water just pouring out of the back. I had not flushed RV fluid through this flusher. I don't even know the terminology for it. But ice will expand, and ice broke this permanent part off. See, that's a permanent part there. It doesn't screw out or anything. So it just, the ice caused it to just snap off, break right off, and then water came flowing out of there and flooded my camper a little bit. If this happens, you're going to have to replace the assembly that's back there. And that's not all that expensive if you do it yourself. If you take it to the shop, you're going to pay $85 an hour, plus parts. First of all, shut off your water pump and tape it so that nobody turns it on. Also shut off your water heater, because you don't want your heater on either, because if your water heater tank is partially empty, you could do damage, especially if it's totally empty. Alright, so let's go remove this toilet. It's quite easy.
Make sure you flush the remaining water out. You'll see in the bloopers at the end what will happen if you forget.
Unscrew this from the assembly and set it to the side. Have towels ready, like I did, because the water is going to flow all over until this line is empty. So you have to remove this toilet. So you basically remove this pin, get in there with your pliers, loosen it up just enough so that you can do it with your fingers, and you can actually do it really fast. I've only done this once, so I'm not all that. It's not like I'm a professional. I took the cap off of this one already. Same thing on the other side. So this is the other side. Just screw that nut off after you loosen it with the pliers. Hopefully it's nice and clean. Okay, so set all your parts in a nice corner where nobody's going to kick them. And then you're going to gently pull this right off. Now be ready for, if your holding tank is full or nearly full, you're going to have some smell. What I have is a plastic bag with simply this to put on it. So you're going to lift this off of here and you just pull it straight upright. You're going to need to also replace this rubber piece, and you should be wearing gloves. Set it to the side. It's very light. Then stick that into the hole to block the smell. Alright, so I'm going to take this really light toilet. You can lift it with one hand. I have the other hand holding the camera. So we're going to take this in and remove the assembly from the back. It's 1 screw. It's really simple. I'll show you. Alright, to remove this assembly, just simply remove this screw here. And once that's loosened up, you can pull that out and keep it in a safe place. And the next thing you need to do is pull this tubing off. There, we'll just remove it that way. And then the last thing is, you see this arm that comes across? It's going to be connected to this plastic. There. See, that's got a little hook in it. I'm going to put it in so you see how to take it out. So you're going to find that it's hard to take this off of here, that 90-degree corner. So instead you can take this one out by tipping it up. Here's the whole assembly. You have to pull it up as far as it'll go and then tip up. It comes right out. So I can show you that several times. Up and then tip. And take it to the store and get a new part. The back of the toilet with the plumbing assembly taken off. Remember, we just took that off. I left the screw there so I don't lose it while I go to the store to get the new part. Well, here I am. I bought the part at a RV store. So, and this is the part right here. that I froze and broke. As soon as he saw it, he knew what happened, and they must see this a lot. You just got to really flush that antifreeze through your system completely when you winterize. It cost me $40, and it came with the rubber ring as well. So here's the brand new part, here's the old part. We're going to remove the screw. Okay, so you're going to get this piece of metal. Remember how we took it out? It's going to go in the same way. It's a little bit tricky at first, but I'm doing it with one hand. If I can do it with one hand, you can do it with two. Okay, once you got this metal arm in place, the next thing you're going to have to do is push this plastic piece. You just push it back all the way to its closed position. That then, see how that is? Now it's all the way up this way. See how that moves? You're going to push it all the way up, and that's the closed position. Then you're going to twist this and see how it is. You can swivel this around and take a look at where you're at. The next part is, being that it swings around, swing it around, and you're going to get, you see this track here? I'll show you from the front. See how that's a track? It slides in. It's a notch, and it slides into here, and it fits like a charm. So you're going to carefully swing it around, and it's going to be at a weird angle at the beginning. It's almost going to feel like it won't quite make it, but that's because it's a tight fit. There we go. So I started this into the track. Then you're going to gently twist it around and slide it the rest of the way in. See how it makes it around the corner? Now, when it's halfway, see, it's almost all the way. You'll know it's all the way when this notch goes to this hole here. When you get halfway, just like I stopped, see how I got it started? Now I'm going to stop, and I'm going to pay attention to this part. Well, I slide this in, get it far enough in. Now we're going to connect this tube. This is where your fresh water goes into your toilet through the rim. And there's a little rubber piece there to maintain that seal. So you're going to fish that in there. Okay, as you glide that into place, the hose will go right in place. You just have to guide it with your hand just a little bit. Get it to roll up and over that rubber seal, and you're good to go. The next part of this is to get this track to go far enough forward that that notch goes into that receptacle, into that little hole, so that it holds it in place. A little more. There it is. See, it's in place. So that locks in. So that won't go anywhere. It's solid in place. Now the next step is, so you got this sealed, and you got this in place with the notch in the hole. Next thing is to put your screw in there. Remember, you put the screw somewhere where you don't lose it. Let's get that put back in. And the toilet is so light that you're probably going to have someone hold it down while you try and get that screw in place. Unless you have a free hand to hold it down yourself. Okay, we're going to test this. So it goes back. That's the flush mechanism. Spring loaded, so it goes back. So when you step on this pedestal here, you're going to see the mechanism back here work like this. Next thing we're going to do is put this seal in place. We're going to install the new closet flange, is what they call this. This part, see how it fits? It's going to fit into this ring. And see that lip part sticks down. This covers, this goes over, and you're going to have to, it's a little wider than it. So you see how it sits on the bottom? It sits in place, equal distance all the way around. It fits like a glove. You could say it fits perfectly, actually. Now you're going to lift this toilet, and it's very light. Put it right onto the screws. Line it up with the screws. Set it on this side. Go over and check the other side before you push down. And it's in place. Give it a little bit of a twist. And that is back in place. So you're going to put your nut back onto the screw and tighten this puppy down. You're almost done. Don't tighten the first one yet. We're going to get the other side on. Spin that on there. Finger tighten it. Notice your toilet will have a little play at first. That's because there's that rubber piece in there. Finger tighten them so that they're even on both sides. So you're going to have to do one side and do the other. And go back to the first side again. Put some pressure on it. Tighten that one down. And then give it a wiggle to make sure it's in place. See, every time you wiggle it, you can screw it down more with your fingers. Screw it down as tight as you can with your fingers. Alright, finish tightening this. You'd probably rather use a wrench if you have a wrench. It goes faster. I just put my vice grip to a level where it doesn't quite grab on, but it slides in place. So halfway tightened down one side, it's quite firm. And I go to this side and do the same thing. Okay, that's nice and tight. Now you can put your caps back in place. The caps just slide on the top. Lock in. There it is. Now you got one more step. The most important before you turn on your water. You gotta connect your hose. You're gonna have quite a mess if you don't get back there and connect your hose up. And it just screws on just like a garden hose, finger tight. It's gonna screw onto the assembly that you installed. Now you have to get it lined up just right. You don't want to force the threads if they're not on there correctly. And then it just screws on really nice like a garden hose. So finger tighten it back there. That's why it has notches on it, so that you can get back there and put some pressure on it. Do not use a tool on this one. Okay, so you got your part installed on the back of your toilet. You've got your nuts firmly in place, and then put your covers back on. Your toilet's back installed. All you have to do now is pressure up your water. You'll hear it run for a little while. Okay, I'm going to run the sink just for a moment, just to get any air bubbles out of the system. Make sure that everything is holding water, that no water is leaking. Being that you did this on your own, you're going to want to periodically come out and check this. Okay, I'm going to step it down and test it. Look at that, water flows like it should. And I'm going to check back here, see if anything's leaking. See how that works? When you step on the flush, it opens the valve, water goes through the connection and flows. Aren't you proud of yourself? I could play with it all night. Play with my toilet. Take this really light toilet. It's so light I can lift it with one hand. Look at that. And I can drop it effectively. Oh, that's going to go on the bloopers. Let's see the mechanism back here work like this. Oh! And I shouldn't have done that. Guess what? That was full of water. Ha! So that the smell didn't come up. And now I'm sitting in water. Yay, that's a good way to wake up. Time to get a towel. I just flushed on myself. Good thing that's fresh water. Ooh, that would have been ew.